Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into a huge shift in Australia's green energy game. It's all about how they certify clean power, and honestly, this could unlock billions for new industries.
So you know how everyone's talking about green products? Well, it's not just talk anymore. All over the world, people and huge companies want actual proof that what they're buying is the real deal, Genuinely sustainable. And we're talking about the big stuff here. Green steel, clean aluminum, and especially the green hydrogen that's supposed to power our future.
But here's the kicker, right? How do you actually prove something is truly green, like every single hour of every single day? That is the billion-dollar question. I mean, anyone can slap a green label on something, but proving it with cold, hard, precise data, that's a whole different ballgame. It's the difference between just a promise and a solid fact. And believe me, for international markets, that difference is, well, it's everything.
So Australia has a new answer, a new kind of certificate, and we're going to get right into it. This isn't just some small adjustment. Nope, this is a complete overhaul, a fundamental upgrade to their entire system for clean energy. It's all about building that trust and being able to compete on the world stage.
All right, Section 1, a new green standard. So, what's behind all this? Well, it all comes down to Australia's pretty ambitious climate goals. Okay, so look at these targets. They're aiming to slash emissions by 43% by 2030 and hit net zero by 2050. That's huge. And to get there, you can't just, build a bunch of solar panels and call it a day. They need a system, a really top-notch, world-class system to track and prove where every single megawatt of that clean energy is coming from. They have to show their work, basically.
All right, so to really get what's new, we've got to look at what's old. Let's talk about the original certificate, the LGC, or Large-Scale Generation Certificate. This is what kicked off Australia's whole renewable journey.
So what is an LGC? Basically, it's a tradable certificate you get for every megawatt-hour of renewable power. This was the tool, the key thing that got the market going. It gave companies a real reason to build new renewable projects. And for years, it's been the backbone of how Australia proved its green energy credentials. LGCs were great, they built the market, but they had one big limitation. They only tracked energy on an annual basis. Think about that. In a world that runs 24/7, an annual certificate is kind of like a blurry, out-of-focus photo when what you really need is a crystal-clear, high-def video. For something like green hydrogen production where you need to prove you're using green power every single hour, an annual certificate just doesn't cut it. It's not nearly precise enough.
Okay, so that brings us to the upgrade. Enter the REGO. This is the solution, part of the new Guarantee of Origin scheme. REGO stands for Renewable Electricity Guarantee of Origin, and it's the new star of the show.
So, the easiest way to think about a REGO, it's like an LGC 2.0. It's a new digital certificate that comes with a timestamp. It's built to be way more detailed, way more flexible. It's for a future where proving when your energy was made is just as important as proving that it was green in the first place. And here's how it works. It's pretty straightforward. First, a renewable generator, or even a big battery system, gets registered. Then, when it generates or sends out 1 megawatt-hour of power, bam! A REGO certificate is created. And crucially, it's time-stamped down to the hour. This thing can then be sold or used to prove you used green energy. What you get is this undeniable government-backed digital paper trail, a super clear record of exactly when and where that green power came from. It builds a whole new level of trust.
Okay, let's put them side by side. LGC versus REGO. What are the key differences? This is where you really see why the new system is such a game changer.
First up, granularity. With LGCs, you're looking at things on an annual basis. A whole year's worth of generation bundled up, no specific timestamp. But with REGOs, we're talking hourly tracking. Every certificate is timestamped. That jump in precision is incredible. We're going from a yearly average to a real-time match. And that is the kind of detail that global markets are crying out for, especially for things like green hydrogen.
Next up, eligibility. This is another massive shift. LGCs, they were for generation only. Power stations making new renewable electricity. REGOs, though, can be created by generators and energy storage systems. We're talking about those giant batteries. This is huge because it finally recognizes how critical storage is. I mean, storing solar power during the day and then using it at night? That's the key to a stable green grid. And now, that value can actually be certified.
So this table really lays it all out. You can see LGCs were tied to the Renewable Energy Target, a mandatory scheme that's actually set to end in 2030. REGOs, on the other hand, are for the Guarantee of Origin scheme, which is more about voluntary claims and certifying products. We've talked about the granularity, annual versus hourly, and the eligibility, generation versus generation plus storage. The big takeaway here is that LGCs have an end date. REGOs are designed to go on forever, built for a smarter, more competitive market.
Okay, so why does all this matter? I mean, it sounds a bit technical, right? Certificates and timestamps, but this is way more than that. This isn't just a tweak for energy traders. This is about unlocking Australia's entire economic future.
And the government is serious about it. They're putting real money on the table, over $32 million just to get this Guarantee of Origin scheme up and running fast. And what's the first priority? Renewable hydrogen. They want to get that certification process fast-tracked so they can grab a piece of that massive, emerging global market. Because REGOs unlock all these new green industries. They provide the rock-solid proof needed for things like green hydrogen to meet those strict international rules, or for powering critical mineral refineries with verified renewables so they can get new tax breaks. It really is like a passport for green products. It's the official stamp that lets Australian exports into those premium markets, like the EU, that have really tough environmental standards.
And that's exactly what the Energy Minister, Chris Bowen, is getting at. He says the scheme gives businesses the tools they need to play a part in Australia's energy transformation and clean energy exports. Basically, it's about giving Australian companies the right gear to compete and win in this new, clean global economy.
So how is this all going to roll out? It's not like flipping a switch overnight. There's a plan, a road to 2030. Let's take a look at the timeline. Okay, so in 2025, the new scheme officially kicks off. We'll have REGOs and LGCs being created at the same time. Then in 2027, new tax incentives for things like green hydrogen start, and you'll need REGOs to prove you qualify. The big date, though, is 2030. That's when the old system, the Renewable Energy Target, ends. LGCs stop being made, and the REGO becomes the one and only primary certificate. For the next few years, they'll run side by side, but after 2030, the LGC is history.
And having this transition period is just smart strategy. It gives the market a chance to adapt, it gives everyone a runway to get their systems updated, figure out new strategies, and just generally prepare for a future where hourly match green energy isn't just a nice-to-have, it's the new gold standard.
So, Australia is building this really world-class system to prove its green credentials. But here's the final question. Will this incredibly detailed tracking be the key that truly unlocks their future Made in Australia vision on the global stage? It's a huge step, no doubt. The tools are being built. Now we just have to see how well they're used to build the clean, competitive industries of tomorrow.